Okay, we're going to start our Town of Sangerville Board of Selectmen meeting Wednesday, September 19th, 2018. It's 5 o'clock. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you have minutes for us? No. Treasurer's warrants. Payroll 126 and 128, and accounts payable 125, 127, and 129.
Make a motion to approve all A and B payroll and accounts payable.
Second. Those in favor? It's all in favor of 3. We have no guests, so there's no session. And next we're going to, I would like a motion to recess for the purpose of starting our public hearing on general assistance guidelines and updates for 2018 and 19.
Did you make that motion?
I would like a motion. Just, we have to have a motion to recess.
I'll make a motion to recess our meeting. Is that all we need?
That's all we need.
Okay.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? We are now recessed. And now we can commence. It is 5:02. The Town of Sangerville Board of Selectmen public hearing, Wednesday, September 19th, 2018. And our meeting is open. We have no guests. Is there anything that we need to do specifically for this?
I have the General Assistance Ordinance Guidelines, the appendices A to C. It's for 2018-19. They go from October 1st to September 30th. And we have to do it every year. They update the dollars, so to speak, that an individual is allowed to have his income and expenditures. And the state gives it to us. It's an update that goes with the guidance, the ordinance that we have. I mean, it's a pretty big binder of all the rules and stuff, but this is all they require us to do every year.
And this is an opportunity for the citizens to come in and
Question.
Yeah. And
Get information.
so I don't know how long we leave this meeting open.
And we have
probably long
nobody
enough.
to make comment, that's it.
So can we,
Make a motion to go back into our.
we'll make a motion to adjourn this.
Okay. Make a motion to adjourn our public hearing for general assistance guidelines.
Second.
And those in favor? All 3 of us are in favor. And now a motion to go back into our select board meeting.
Make a motion to go back into our select board meeting.
Second.
All in favor? We are back in session. And we're on to item 5, Selectmen's concerns. Any?
Well, I mean, this is minor. I was driving down out the Dowdy Hill Road, Outer Pine, and I was going to the dump, and I came down the hill right before Black Stream, you know, down there, and there's a mattress on the side of the road. I did, well, it's a box spring, actually, and I've seen it several times, because that's why I go back and forth to Dover. I did try and stop it and put it in my car. There's no way. It was waterlogged. So,
Ooh.
it needs to be picked up. It's on the right-hand side, right before you get down to the stream.
Well, here's a question. Is it our responsibility or is it the state's responsibility? Because that is a state aid road.
Okay, I don't know.
I will find out.
No, maybe you call the county, they'll pick it up.
I did try to get it. So, it's been there a good week.
Okay.
Anything else that we want to address in this part of the meeting? Okay, on to item 6, Commissioner's reports, Road Commissioner.
I spoke with Seth this afternoon. He has the Gray Road done. The guardrails are done. And he will be starting, not next week because he's going on vacation next week, But when he comes back, he will be starting on McFeeters, doing what needs to be done there. We talked about down on East Sangerville, that part where the water runs over. We talked about the line road, bringing those sides in. I believe we paid less than what he had anticipated for the work on the Gray Road, so we should be okay with our funds to do those other projects. There is a tree on East Sangerville down by Diane Burritos that's, Chummy brought it to my attention. He's gonna pick it up and take care of it. That's my conversation with Seth. I talked to Chummy yesterday. He has the sand bid. As you know, I was preparing the contract for him to sign, and we didn't talk about if they have to purchase additional sand in the middle of the winter time. What's his price for that? And so he said he would do $9 in the pit. He doesn't insure his trucks in the wintertime, so but $9 a yard in the pit, minimum of 500 yards. And I'm thinking if we want to add an option to renew for 1 year in the contract, so that in 1 year we can offer it to him first before we go out to bid if he declines. We can add that. I've had that discussion with MMA in the past, and that is allowed in a contract without needing a legislative body vote. I also talked to Chummy about doing a road committee meeting so that we can discuss what do we want to budget for next year, and what, give me let's figure out what work needs to be done so we can get the budget done. He suggested adding tree removal to the budget. We do have lots of trees that need to be removed, but he said that Guilford rents, he called it a boom mower. Do you know what?
Boom bush hog, yeah.
He suggested maybe use that. You don't need any special training. He said their public works guy runs it, and they rent it for 2 weeks every year, and it's like $2,500, I think he said.
That's for 1 week.
Is that for 1 week? So $2,500 for 1 week. He suggested putting like $10,000 a year in the budget for a few years, because we have some major trees down on East Sangerville. I don't know if all of those old maples, they're old and aged. And if we ever want to get that tree out of the cemetery, French's Mill Cemetery.
Well, we got a lot of tree
We've
work
got
in this cemetery.
We don't have a line
That
item
too.
budget.
Yeah.
That too. I know we don't.
We have all kinds of money budgeted every year that we could be already
Yes.
working on all of this.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree with that.
It doesn't need
Yeah,
to
well, and that's maybe something that we want to talk about too as a board, and when we get ready to do the budget. The line item is good to just kind of give you a rough idea, but I know that it's $1 figure at the bottom.
be. Yeah, I mean, we all know we have trees to cut, and we all know it needs to be done, so I don't really.
But it seems like the approach on trees has been, we cut them if it interferes with road maintenance, or, it's
Right.
time to ditch. In order to properly ditch, we have to cut a tree.
Right.
But much like Central Maine Power or the telephone company, we don't preemptively say, gee, that tree looks sketchy,
Right.
let's pay to take it down. If they come down, we address it then.
Right.
And my initial thought is, if that's good enough for Central Maine Power, that's probably the way we should approach it. Because quite often when they come down, they're not our responsibility, they're maybe the power company's responsibility.
Well, yeah, and I know there's one out on Borough Road that goes right out over the road, and it's pretty sketchy. Seth took a picture and gave it to me, but it goes right out over the power line that crosses the road at the same spot. So, any way you look at it, Central Maine Power is gonna have to be involved, so if we wait until it falls on its own.
CMP doesn't care though.
Well,
I went through this with the tree at my house.
No,
When I
no,
called
but-
CMP about it, their motto is it's gonna, the phone company has more lines than we do to fix if it goes down, so they'll have to take care of it.
Yeah, but,
So the phone company, they're gonna say, oh, it's CMP that's gonna hit.
but once the wire's on the ground, somene's cutting it up.
Right, exactly,
Right.
that was my point, is
But
once
it
it's
won't be
down.
CMP.
Whatever, but it won't be us, cause we can't touch it.
It will be us.
Not if
Well,
we're
we'll
electrical
cut the
wires.
tree up, but
Correct.
at least the tree will be on the ground at that
Correct.
point, and CMP won't charge us for getting the tree on the ground.
truck.
Yeah,
Because-
the
The
land,
CMP won't charge you now, you just have a bucket truck.
Get that issue everywhere.
know, I
I mean, we literally have lost people.
Yeah.
to-
I know.
Yeah. So,
And-
that's
But
it.
if you start going around looking
Oh.
at every suspicious limb, you're gonna,
You wouldn't
this-
drive.
But the bigger thing is, it's way cheaper to cut them in the load, and
Right,
that's what we're not
Right.
doing. is-
Well, and I think that's what the point was, that boom mower thing that Chummy was saying, is you can do a lot more with that than you
You can.
ahead of time.
But I also know when you hit a rock and a blade comes flying off that thing, it
jeez,
is a bush hog. So if you watch it when it's operating,
is that like the one you were
No.
showing me? Oh,
it's like a regular bush hog,
But
only
it's-
it's on a boom, so you're running it like this.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, so it's, you know, if it's cutting stuff up, and
Yeah.
that's actually, because I did talk to Jeff about it, I went up and see Jeff when it was running, cause I wanted to see it. Same time I'm looking at buying something, and, was hoping it was a flail, but it's not, it's a bush hog. So that's one thing that Jeff was telling me when he's operating this, is it slows him down because it's just him, so he constantly has to get back out and, he's mowing in the ditch, but he constantly has to get off the machine and move this material out of the road, because that's where it's flying to.
huh,
So, yes, it does a good job, but, I mean, it's throwing a lot of material.
that's, I wouldn't really wanna be, I mean, every time you pick that thing up, now it's chest high.
Well, and that's, he told me that he's hit a rock and lost a blade,
Yeah,
you know, so,
that's a projectile.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not a blade like a little one, he showed me, they're like this long and
Yeah.
it's a blade.
yeah,
But in the $2,500, that's for the machine.
Yes.
That doesn't count the fuel, it doesn't count the labor.
Right,
Doesn't count anything.
right, it's just a rental.
is it an implement that goes on a tractor?
No, that's tractor and everything.
Oh, oh,
Shows where it was, I'm gonna guess, say 100 horse cab John Deere tractor.
see.
is what it was on.
I see,
So it would work all your finer stuff that's in your ditching, but wherever you got a tree,
yeah,
it's not gonna fit, so, you know what I mean, it's, cause it's I think it was like a 5 foot, 6 foot head. Like a 6 foot bush hog, but on a 12-foot boom. So it reaches up, it reaches down,
jeez,
yeah.
huh,
That was just a suggestion from Chummy, I mean, I haven't even discussed it with Seth, so.
I can see where there's areas where it would be a benefit, but like on my road, there's so much big stuff in between the little stuff. You're not gonna be able, you know what I mean?
Right.
You can't reach in between. All the stuff that's in the air that's hitting trucks, now that's, you can
Yeah.
reach out and do that. It's
how,
hard to take
how
them
big
out.
so you can put it down, but you can also put it
Oh, yeah.
up and go, how big a tree will it take? Not that big.
Jeff told me it will take a 4-inch, but you gotta work it.
Not all species are the same either.
Right.
Right, yeah,
Yeah, I wouldn't go with the mindset that anything I see 4
Yeah, yeah,
inches
yeah.
under goes,
Yeah.
but
I wonder how many windshields they lose.
I don't know.
Wow. And that's different from what you were looking at, completely different.
But I agree with you, it'd be great for the road committee to kind of re-engage and start working on next year and the following, 19 and 20.
Yeah,
Cause I like the pace that we've had, I mean, it's been, sometimes it feels herky-jerky, but the bottom line is, once we get this paving done this year, we've had a pretty good 2-summer run.
yeah,
3 miles in 2 summers, big projects like the Gray Road and these guardrails, I mean, we've really gotten, if we could keep going at this pace, in another 2 years,
Start getting ahead.
really, yeah, I think. But it's all getting prepped ahead and all of that.
You started the conversation, I thought Hope was where he's going, but you didn't.
I'm not done yet.
CMP don't cut brush.
no, I
No,
know,
they don't.
they
Yeah,
But
spray,
I'm so sick of saying it that I'm
I
not.
know.
I know,
but
yeah,
I'm not-
yeah.
How do we move forward with that?
with CMP?
With
No,
spraying.
Oh, you, you have to have a,
We need someone who's licensed.
yes,
That's easy though.
Well, it is,
It's
except no
expensive,
one
too.
seems to show an interest. I
We
mean,
have-
I've talked to Chris about it, and he's not jumping on it, but he's got all the equipment.
Is he licensed?
No, he's not licensed.
So
you have
what
to
does it
go
take
through
to
all
get
the
licensed?
training, I'm not sure how much training or certification the process is, but I know you have to do it through the state, and if a town had an employee that wanted to be certified, they can do it, and it's cheaper,
Oh no, I
as
would
far as
never
I
want
know.
an employee to do that.
But
But is it
My
outside
understanding, I
companies?
think Cynthia Hall used to be, I don't know if she
Yeah.
still is. The guy over, that's who I had spray the
Oh,
cemetery,
grubs,
the
the
grubs, was the guy from Dexter Muni Golf.
I bet
Oh, really?
Somebody at
Yes.
least probably is licensed.
Jimmy?
Oh,
Yeah, I think so,
Yeah, yeah, I didn't know he did that.
yeah.
But maybe Instrum's is licensed. One of those guys could be
I know
over
the
there.
guy that I can't remember his name off the top of my head that does, that I had cut trees in my house with a bucket, he was licensed.
Seth might be willing to get a license.
But there's gotta be a company out there that is licensed that does do this.
Because every town I go in now, I'm seeing it everywhere. If you drive from Exeter, Levant, they're spraying everywhere.
It'd be way cheaper to hire a company and spray than whatever would cover it.
Oh, absolutely.
That's my,
Well, particularly like the scenario you're describing, where you've got these mature trees and then brush all around them, they're coming in and just blasting the brush. The mature trees, they leave them alone,
Right.
and the brush doesn't
Does.
block your vision.
Right.
But the work that our public works did 2 years ago on the French's Mills Road is now chest high and thicker than it
and
was when
thicker,
they went
yeah,
in.
yeah, yeah.
Now's the time to hit it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting a little late in this, because once the leaves turn, it's not as effective.
Because it absorbs the leaves.
But next spring, when those are nice and freshly green, you hit them, you're not gonna have to do anything for a couple of years. So we need to figure out how to get this done. Or until we hit a wall, and then someone can explain to me why Exeter and Levant can do it.
right.
When I talked to the state, I think the only thing that they suggested, or I'm not sure if I remember if it was required, but to notify the residents.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to notify them. And if they don't want spraying, you can't spray.
why doesn't CMP have to do that?
Public utility.
So public utility has more power
I
on
think
roadside
so.
than
I'm
we
not
do?
100%, but I think so.
Do we notify them when we cut brush?
Not typically.
So we're not required to?
Correct.
Do you think there's a heightened level of?
Because of chemical exposure.
Or you just simply avoid, I mean, I guess they're saying even remote land, you'd have to find the landowner and then,
Yes, they said make sure you have permission from your landowners.
So really, we need an ordinance, or we need to make something as a town, we're gonna do that.
well, it
doesn't
sounds like,
necessarily have to
is
be
it
an
notification or
ordinance.
permission?
No,
There's a difference.
I'll have to go back and
It's gotta
read
be
it.
notification,
I think it's at least notification.
with an option for them to say, don't
To
spray.
call and
Correct.
say, we don't want you to spray.
So we
Yeah,
could
yeah.
simply,
Yeah.
you could mail a street,
Yes.
or maybe notification is sufficient, just like we notify for a public hearing. Maybe if it's posted enough days in advance, there's probably a way to
Maybe.
run your town without knocking on every single door.
On the website.
I mean, I just think it's a huge cost savings that we're not
Oh.
touching.
Oh, it's not even
It's
close.
amazing.
It's not even close. And that's why they're all doing it.
I mean, cause you don't have to spray every road every year.
No.
I mean, once
No.
you get yourself under control, you could, and like you said, that's that high now, it's been what, 2 or 3 years since they
Now's the
were.
perfect time to hit it.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
if you could get your roads in like a 3-year rotation,
Yep. Yeah, I think 3 years is probably,
and it would keep
And
everything.
it's not labor intensive. Not like the brush cutting is, or dangerous. I mean, some will argue
Yeah.
that chemicals are dangerous, but that's why you get a license, so you're not handling
right.
it. But yeah, that's, I think, we need to run
Push
that
that.
to its solution.
Right,
And,
right.
If we hit a wall, we hit a wall, but, we need, and we mentioned the trees in the cemetery. Where are we on that?
I forgot to say that to Seth, cemetery trees.
I'm not sure that he's capable of doing that, but
No,
he
but
might
he
be.
might know somebody.
I
Well,
would call anybody that cuts trees.
yeah, I would start with,
Angstrom?
Engstrom.
Engstrom, I've talked to him before and he doesn't,
There's 2 of them, by the way.
well, this
The
is the
son
older guy, this
and-
really skinny
That's the
one.
older-
That's
Yep.
the original. The
Yeah.
son also does it.
So which one do I wanna talk to?
Talk to both of them.
I would even call I would even, I don't think those guys are actually gonna be able to help, I think it's gonna have to be somebody that's a
We'll
logger.
know though.
Cause you're gonna have
With
to
like
have
a pulp
equipment.
truck, right? So that they can
You're gonna
maybe
need a skidder.
walk.
You're gonna need a skidder with a big cable winch.
You're gonna have to pull all them up over that bank. I would assume they're gonna have to attach a cable before they cut them.
Yeah, well, that's why I was thinking of the pump
Cause
truck.
you're not gonna be able to get them into the water, so they're gonna have to cable them, cut them, drag them up and out.
Yeah,
But any one of those gentlemen, any one of those companies, all they'll have to do is peruse it, and they'll know whether they can do it or not, and then likely, if they can't, they might be able to direct you to someone who could. But we really don't wanna go into the winter without removing some of those trees.
that's true, the top ones, it's,
I mean, they've given us the green
specifically,
light
I
to
know, yeah.
help slow that down,
yeah.
so. And this, you gotta be able to get them back up without wrecking
Right,
monuments and all
right,
that, it's a
right,
delicate job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's probably some wood there to offset the cost, but ultimately, it's probably gonna cost us something.
Yeah, cause I bet, I mean, once you take the salvageable wood out, you're still gonna have a huge brush pile, we're gonna have to haul out of there.
And Instrum's can chip,
Chip
I know
it,
he can
yeah.
do that, he has a truck that will grind all those tops up.
and keep them so that they're not shooting them out on the,
I don't know where he's gonna put them, he might be able to just blow them down the bank, I don't
Yeah.
know.
it's water, it's a water
Wood
source.
chips?
You can't put wood chips.
I mean, if we don't cut those trees, they're all going in the water.
That's fine, that's nature.
That's nature.
Right, well, again, we don't really
But we
know
can't-
what we can and
Right,
can't
and we
do.
can't do it in the spring because it'll be too soft, the bank will be soft
Well,
and
we
everything else.
But he'll take the wood chips right to the,
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
recycling, he doesn't,
Yeah,
Well, I mean, they can dump if he can chip into his truck and he doesn't have a place to put them, he could dump them up in the stump dump. I mean, we have got adequate place to get rid of them, they're just not on that site, that's all.
correct, correct.
right,
They're not,
yeah, stumped up.
might even be a place for them at the park, maybe in the dugouts or something like that, I don't know.
But I think they have to be a specific tree breed. I mean, I don't think
Species.
it, yes, there you go.
Breed.
For,
Thoroughbred.
what, for putting like in a,
Yeah, for mulch,
Oh, oh,
for
oh.
safety
You can't
purposes
do- oh.
underneath. I think you have to be specific in what you can put down. I don't think it's just anything. Jason may know more about that.
But the day that he was helping us there, he got on the phone, he said, I need the chipper and the truck. So he was just gonna process most of that. So. I also spoke to Seth, and you made him aware of what we wanna do out here.
Yes, I did.
And
We
he
did
said
talk about
for
that.
part of October, I think is his plan there. Back to the sand bid, has Tommy been able to confirm that he's able to get the kind of sand that we want?
My understanding is it's a different vein, so that it's,
Well, it's important.
But Seth knows our concerns there, so.
He had the
Yes.
same problem in
yes,
Parkman.
yes,
So we just wanna be on the same page, because we don't want another pile of that.
mud.
So did Seth, Seth still got his sand this year off Chummy again, right? So Seth said that
I
it
didn't
got better?
confirm that with Seth yet.
I'm just curious. That would answer your vein question, that's all.
can they go with
My,
cabinet?
I didn't think that.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I would like Seth to go look at what we're
Yeah.
gonna get,
Right,
cause he had the same problem in Parkman, so he's gonna want this to be right.
And just as an FYI, our salt price is better than his.
Oh, really? Well,
Then we get it from the same company, and he's like, "How much are you paying?" I said, "65 a ton." They're charging Parkman 71 a ton.
that's a big difference.
Yeah, but because they only get 4 loads of salt.
so we have more money.
So that's where I was gonna go. What does Seth mix up there for a ratio compared to what we mix?
They get 4 loads of salt. I don't know how much sand they get, but I do know they only get 4 loads of salt.
And how many do we get?
9.
Oh, wow,
Yeah, 'cause
big
we went
difference.
higher.
We went hotter. We do 7 to mix with the sand, and then we have 1 load that it's like 7.5 that mixes with the sand. We have a load that we can put in the shed that's there for extra hot loads.
What do you think Bangor's paying for salt?
I have no idea.
I mean, versus what we're paying?
No idea.
I mean,
Yeah,
I would think
you
it's
wonder.
volume related.
if the volume difference between Parkman and Sangerville represents
that-
nearly a 10% increase in cost, what could we save if all the towns in the county bought their sand together?
Oh.
Their salt together?
Well, that they have a county price.
They have a county price.
It's like
more than-
$68 a ton.
that's
It's
more
more.
than we pay.
It's
That's
more.
why the Sangerville, until last year, went with the county price. And when I called New England Salt, they gave me the $65 a
So
ton.
the county
It's cheaper.
price is, if you don't even bother to call us price.
Yes.
So back to my original
I wonder what
wondering,
Bangor.
if everybody really got together and really negotiated,
Yeah,
what could you
yeah.
actually get? I don't really
Why
know.
is, what, if Seth is in the county, why is Seth paying 71 instead of 68?
I don't know that Seth is, no, he's direct with, no, he's not in the county.
I
He's
understand
directly
that,
to New
but
England
he is
South.
in the county.
He could let
It
me
could
go.
be 71 that was the
Yeah.
county price. I'm not sure. I mean,
Okay.
I just know that I was able to get cheaper last year. And the ironic part is New England Salt provided the salt for the county at the larger dollar.
This county doesn't care, I guess. Okay. Anything else on roads?
The only thing, I did have, well, it was kind of a whiny complaint, but I work with her, so she was allowed to be whiny. The guardrails, thought they looked really good, but she was a little upset that they went down so far on her lawn. I did explain to her that, that's not us. The guardrails are done off some formula based off the angle, based off the
Right,
depth.
specs.
That's why we hired that company,
Right.
because they know how to do all of that, and that is done to spec.
Right,
So she was okay with it after that. She just didn't think that they were gonna come down. And I reminded her, I said, well, she sent me a text message early this morning, so when I went in, I was looking at the guardrail by the stream going up towards Harlow, and if you happen to notice, that guardrail on that one goes like way out on somebody's lawn.
interesting.
So I reminded her of that.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
look around, you're not the only one, it's the new, different way of how they're speccing them now, and it is what it is, so. She was all good, but wasn't quite what she expected. She did say they looked nice.
I went down Monday to take pictures for the website, but they hadn't even gotten started. Just the trucks were there and they had cordoned it off, but they had, and I
We can
haven't
get
been
some
back
pictures, though, they
down.
do look
so.
good. So,
But I did go up on the Gray Road on Monday too, and that gravel was, and Seth agreed that's really good gravel. He says, I'd like to get gravel out of that pit, but Brian Campbell won't sell it.
Going back to the guardrails, dude, keep going, I'll think of it, can't think of it. Sorry.
It's all right.
Anything else on the roads commission thing? Okay. On to item 7 then?
Yep.
New business, general assistance ordinance.
You have to make a motion and sign it.
Make a motion to sign the general assistance.
Motion to sign or-
Ordinance,
Approve and sign.
approve and sign. General assistance ordinance appendices A through D, 2018, 2019.
Sorry.
All in favor? 3-0. B, Sunday alcohol petition.
I do not have all the petitions at this point. The 45-day mark to get it on the November election is Friday. And I know we will have the numbers, but you'll have to have a special board meeting to approve, because it's technically a town meeting. So you will need to have a board meeting on Friday to get that
To accept these notarized and then move the petition on.
to a special town meeting.
So
Well,
what's,
to the November,
Right.
right.
so what's left so we know for sure that we got our numbers?
What's left?
Do you know for sure we have our numbers?
I have not certified all of the petitions. I just got them this afternoon, so I need to go through and make sure we don't have double signatures, that everybody's a resident of Sangerville. I have just over 100 signatures right now on, I think, 8 petitions.
Okay.
If you wanted to take a petition for a day and hit a road, just to make sure we've got enough people, that would probably be welcome.
That's what I'm wondering you'll probably certify these before, you'll know tomorrow maybe
Yes,
where you stand.
yes.
So if you were short, you could call any one of us and we could run around and get some signatures. That's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking. I mean, I don't mind I'll take a slip with me, just
Yep.
so if you need it, I can pick up a dozen on my road like that,
Yeah,
so.
So do you have both stores yet?
yes, that's all I have, and Chris Rowell.
And there's a good chance that the folks on my end of town quite often aren't
Yeah,
in either
yeah.
one of those stores,
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
so. Okay, I'll just take one with me, I'll get you some signatures anyway, and I'll just bring them with me on Friday.
All right, so special town meeting.
Yep,
Lois, do they need to be registered voters or just residents?
They need to be registered of Sangerville,
Registered voters,
yes,
voters.
of Sangerville,
Not just
Okay, so they
residents.
just can't be residents.
correct.
Okay, because I know a couple of people that have signed it, said, oh yeah, I signed it, but they're not registered voters.
Yeah, they've gotta be registered.
So you have to then verify that they're a resident as well as a registered voter.
It's
All
an
Oh, yeah,
all-in-one process, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I
But
have a
still.
list.
You can see.
And if they're
Okay,
not
check,
on the
check.
list, they're not,
Okay. Alright, so you may lose some.
yes. So
Yeah.
what time do we
You
wanna,
you may have doubles in there too. That's what I'm afraid of.
for A. Robinson's?
Well, in general, I mean, when you have that many people trying to do something like this, it's very easy to have the same person
Multiples,
on multiple sheets.
yeah. Yeah. So what time do you wanna do Friday? I mean, it can be, it's gonna be quick, in and out.
Yeah. You guys open, or,
I'm gonna be in East Corinth at 2:40 for an hour or so.
so why don't we
and then
do a
back.
late morning,
Yeah, that's fine.
like 11:30?
Does that work for you, Dale?
I'll make it work.
Okay.
Alright, well, then,
Look,
Okay, I'll post
Friday.
that and I will,
Ooh, let's make it noon.
noon?
I do have people, I have visitors Friday, but I'll make it work.
So Friday at noon here?
It
Yep.
literally shouldn't be more than 5-10 minutes.
right, you just need to make motion to,
Make a motion to accept, sign and leave, right?
Okay. Anything else regarding that?
Actually, can we do that like early in the morning?
I don't have a
That's
problem.
fine with me.
I can
Is
do
that easier?
9.
It would be for me.
Like before
as
work?
long as I have all my signatures.
That's the only thing, but I'm gonna get you some more, and if you guys wanna take,
I would,
Chances
Yeah.
are, yeah, I mean, like McFeeters, they all shop at.
Yeah, they
I
probably
mean,
have
I'm
been in
happy
there,
to
but-
see if I can.
I mean.
Sure, sure.
Is Rick signed?
No,
And,
So there you go.
Yeah, maybe a
Right.
couple right there next to you,
Right.
but,
so, and bring them in to me tomorrow at, just before 5, and I can get those ones certified too.
okay,
Yep. yep.
okay.
Yeah, that's, it. If you're, during your process, you got a big hole, then I
Right.
think we all need to try to if that means tomorrow night, the 4 of us are out gathering some signatures, we should get it done for these guys,
Right.
Yeah,
so. So that's fine.
okay,
What night do they do cribbage over there?
tonight.
Tonight.
But at towners.
Oh, they are?
But I would try it, I mean, what's it gonna hurt, just to make sure. You might, I mean.
Right?
Yeah, no,
it's two you don't
you-
have.
Right,
Yeah,
I mean, that's right.
Yep,
Okay.
It's way easier to hit it when you know you got a lot of people, instead of waiting until you got done, I mean.
That's right, yeah, I mean, okay.
Okay, so what do we have for a time, so I know for,
what time did you say?
I would,
wanna
9
do
o'clock would
early?
be really good. if you
9?
can.
9 it is.
That is.
Okay.
yeah.
9
I'm supposed to have a company at
a.m.
9:30, so.
Okay, we'll
And
do 9
actually,
a.m.
we still have a little cushion at that point, cause if
Well,
we don't make it,
Then,
we still
We
could
can
meet
still hit
again
4.
on Saturday if we had to, couldn't we?
Yeah, no, Friday is 45 days.
Alright,
Saturday's 45 days.
so we can't, well, I guess we could have
We
an
can't count.
emergency.
oh, non-work day?
Tuesday.
Oh.
You can't count election day.
Could you have a meeting on Friday, and I guess you could, if you knew you were short, you could just leave it open until 5
Right.
o'clock.
Well, here's the shorter version, or the longer version. Technically, you can have this vote any time. We wanted to get it on the same day as election because we're not hiring the people
Sure.
more than one time.
Sure.
But if we can't, we can hold a special town meeting. It has to be written ballot. According to the statute, it has to be written ballot. But that being said, we only have to have it open, the polls open for 4 hours. We're not required to have it for the whole 12 hours. So it would be a little bit cheaper, if we have to, than a full-blown election, but, that being said, we have to have the 45 days, has to be written.
Okay.
My only fear
But it
that I
could be.
hate about having anything on the election instead of having it at a town meeting or even at a special town meeting,
Mm-hmm.
there's no explanation.
Mm,
The people are reading it and they're signing. They don't, and you get a lot of situations.
Let me
where
check the law,
don't-
because I think we might have to have a public hearing.
But there again, you're not gonna get the people to come to a public hearing that may come and vote. You gotta have people with an interest. Tonight, perfect example, we had a public hearing. You don't get the people to educate them.
Well, it's
Right.
almost, that concern is valid. That almost speaks to its own separate 4 hour. Because what's gonna happen then is the two store owners they're gonna all get in the car and they're gonna drive down here and vote. The people who don't care about it are not gonna know, they're not gonna show up.
Correct.
So if 15 people show up and vote for this thing on a Tuesday morning, Sunday's fixed. But if you have this thing on the November ballot, when you're electing a new governor and everything else, you're gonna have 600 people here, 400 of which have no idea what this is about.
Right.
And may vote against it.
Correct. Honestly, that is my fear, because they're not gonna understand.
Right.
What you're really doing.
Right.
Because I've already had to explain it to a bunch of people that this is not.
It's like we're changing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had a
Right.
bunch of people, why do you guys wanna take away buying alcohol on Sunday? It's not what this is about.
And if they read the articles that were on the
But
paper,
people, they read every other word. Nobody reads.
Well, honestly, it's a pretty strange thing that we've been selling.
I know,
All
that's-
these towns have been selling.
That-
The state has uncovered a glitch, really,
Right, yeah.
and they're asking us to fix it. So it
Right.
is an oddball situation.
Right.
But that's actually what is helping start this rumor mill going, because, well, obviously, we already buy beer on Sundays, so
Correct.
you guys aren't signing something so you can keep doing it. You must be taking it away, because we already do it, so it's gotta be right. That's
So
what
I don't
Alan
know,
said,
should we rethink this strategy and just run that 4 hour meeting? We still need all these signatures,
yes,
but
just whether or not we're gonna do it then.
we don't need it, we don't have a big rush.
No,
right,
not if we do it.
right.
And it might actually, it's, I think, a reasonable argument can be made, we'd actually be better off having a special meeting just for this.
But
Even though you spend a little bit of money.
do you need a percent, for example, for it to pass, do you need a percentage of,
Only for the petition. And
Right,
this
okay.
petition is actually above and beyond a normal citizen's petition. This one specifically asks for 15% versus the 10% that's typically required,
so,
but
right, but so yay and nay, then it's just.
It's just-
That is, if 5 people
It's
show
yay
up
or nay.
and vote yes, it
Oh, I
passes.
see, okay, so there, you don't have to have a.
Correct.
Right,
But there
okay.
again, if you do it that night of the regular
I
election.
gotcha, I hear you.
You get
I
600
agree.
people, you gotta get 300 of them to go.
yeah. And
Right,
and might actually in the long run cost us more money to do it on the November
because
election.
you'd have to print
Because
them.
we have to print them, but we have to count them by hand.
True.
Whereas the regular election,
I'm leaning towards
There
pulling this
you
out
go.
of the gubernatorial.
You know what,
Yeah,
honestly, what I'm gonna do is, me too, but I'm gonna stop at the store
yeah,
and just let him know what we're all thinking, what our concerns are, and they're the business owners, cause at the end of the day, it's gonna hit them.
right,
If
Right.
this fails, they're the ones that's gonna fail.
right,
So, I would rather know that we also have their support
right.
by
Oh.
doing so, rather than to stop the room.
Yeah, because if we take this strategy and it doesn't work out, oh my goodness, are we gonna get?
Well, I can tell you, the whole thing
we're
is,
just trying to make it.
Yeah,
Make it right.
I literally have never bought a beer in the town of Sacramento on Sunday, just because of where I live.
Right.
But I don't want these store owners to be impacted because of the state
Oh,
glitch.
Right, oh my gosh,
So-
yeah.
yeah,
I think when the town actually had the original vote, I don't think Sunday sales was allowed. It was like in the 90s. So I just think it got overlooked somewhere along the line and.
There was a long time where you had to wait till noontime.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I remember, I worked at Toots Deli then, and
Yep.
you
Now
literally stand there.
yeah.
1201.
Does that include hard alcohol as well, or?
It's every liquor.
Okay.
The statute just words it liquor now for the
Ah.
question, so that's
So
wine,
beer
beer,
is
malt,
liquor.
and hard
Oh, oh,
alcohol.
So, correct me
I read it.
if I'm wrong on this, but we could still have our 9 o'clock meeting, we could still accept our signatures and change our strategy as to when we're gonna run this. It doesn't have to be, we'd have the option of doing this on the scheduled gubernatorial, but we don't have to.
Well, honestly, if you're gonna do this, you don't, correct, if you're gonna think doing that, you don't even need to do a special on Friday, because you're gonna meet on Monday.
Correct.
Correct.
But you wanted to run this by the store owner.
Yeah, I do.
So
Yeah.
if you wanna cancel it, we can cancel it.
Which
We'll do it on
store owner are you
Monday.
talking to
I'll be
about
the one
this
on the
one?
hill, then actually I can stop at Robinson's in the morning.
Okay,
The only time I would deal with Robin, that's Terry. I
Yeah.
mean, she's gotta be the one that would make that call as far as I'm concerned. I wouldn't
Right.
wanna ask.
Yeah, I'd
you know
let
what I
them.
mean?
My gut is that we'd be better off to do it that way,
Yeah.
but if they objected, then I'd feel better about doing it in the
I mean, it
in the
might make a
general.
difference of a week on an election.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
not-
we could just do it the following week.
And then we basically, we contact the store owners and say, tomorrow morning, you need to
Right,
get
you
your
need
people
to
down
come
there.
home, right,
And a dozen people will show up and it will be
and
open.
it's over.
Right.
But
Okay.
if they both fully agree that, no, we want this on the election and don't see a big deal in it, and they wanna be on the record of doing that, then, I would support my local businesses, in
Right,
the direction they wanna
right,
go.
let them
I think
sort
this
of
is important enough, they
take
ought to have
charge.
input.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So we're on standby with Friday, with regard to Friday, depending on what,
I would plan it, and then we can
okay,
You can always cancel it.
cancel it.
Yeah, well, you'll know by morning, I'll post in the morning.
Yep.
So when I hear from you, I'll either
Yep.
post or not post.
Yeah, I'll go see them right as soon as we're out of here, next week's still open.
Okay.
I remembered what I was gonna say, I apologize, about the, about the guardrails. Do you need to report because we got that bad road there?
No, they do
Okay.
inspection every year anyway.
Okay, so you don't, we're done. You don't have to
Correct.
send them proof that we did the work
Correct,
and get ourselves off that list.
correct.
Okay. Sorry, I
I just did it.
left my brain.
Okay, so on this, we're pretty
Yeah.
much done with this.
I think we have
I will
strategy.
I'll take
Game
a,
plan. I'll take one.
Position with
I
me
mean,
and-
I'll go over there and get a cribbage game. When is that cribbage
Start at 6 maybe?
Yeah, 6,
Oh.
6 or 6:30?
Oh,
6,
okay.
I think.
I'll be right back.
Right, I mean,
We have
that's a-
abatements on the list and I forgot to bring them.
Concentration of people over there, right?
yeah. Some of them probably have had an adult beverage.
It's usually, it wouldn't be an anomaly at a cribbage tournament not to see that happen.
But not in the building, right?
Not in that building, but I'm just saying, in general, people like to play cribbage around your home.
Uh-huh.
The more I think about it, the more I think you don't wanna be on
Oh.
election day.
That could be,
Well, it's
especially the way
interesting,
they word things.
But I mean, specials are no different, but the only thing, I just don't see where, I can see where everybody would pull resources together to make sure it gets approved, but, I don't see a large faction trying to,
Right, block
Stop
it,
this.
right,
so.
right.
Yeah.
But in general, when it's on there, if you read it wrong,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it would be very reasonable to think that what you were doing was stopping Sunday sales, because we already got it.
Right.
So, that's the confusing part of it, it's like, what
but
is this on here?
when they get ready to vote though, hopefully they would read it because it says, shall the town vote to allow?
But so confusing because we already do, so that's what's.
Yeah.
to me,
It
this,
seems
this,
like
You're
a
just
trick-
gonna
it
have to,
seems
the
like a trick
store
question.
people, the store owners are going to have to do some talking.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, well, I agree
oh,
with
trust
that.
me, there is enough talk in this town about this petition.
Yeah, but they
Yeah,
don't
but let's make it-
understand it.
Just saying, there's enough talk about this petition.
People I know that have
Keeping this
signed it
going.
are not voters, so, I mean, if somebody's signing this, they could say, are you a registered voter? You can't sign it unless you're, to begin to
Right.
vet people for you.
Right.
So the people I know are not registered to vote, have signed it and thought that we were taking it away, that,
Yep.
so.
All right, anything more on this? Abatements?
So I have two here. One of them is Sharon York. It's 1116 Silvers Mills Road. The house is in poor condition. She said nobody's lived in it for a few years. She owns two properties. One has a house and garage, and the garage is okay, but the house isn't. The other is where she lives, apparently. So she went to Josh, and he reviewed it and says it's in poor condition. It's really not livable inside. So he is suggesting this abatement for Sharon York on one of the properties for 2018 only, in the amount of $446.36. The other one is Carol Weeks, owns the house down here on Route 23. The condition of the house again is poor inside and out. I don't even know if the door is shut at this point. The one thing that Josh included on his email regarding this particular property is they haven't actually asked for an abatement. He's issued an abatement. Well, he's done the work as if, and Josh's interpretation was they didn't ask for an abatement. But he said the weeks work for him and they should know the process. So I don't know. You can, again, this is $538.90. And
So
we
the-
know that one's in pretty rough shape because you can see it when you drive by.
So the agent essentially has, on his own, has said this property deserves an abatement, even though the owner hasn't asked for it.
Correct.
That's interesting.
So,
So
but that's the first one she asked.
So in essence, when we get these from our agent, this is a recommendation. And the question is, do we want to accept it or not?
Correct.
And it requires a motion.
Right.
Do you guys want to talk any more about it, or do you want to?
I'm not on this side. I mean, we rely on our assessor.
That's kind of my gut on this.
Right.
You know, whether we like it or we don't, to me, it's his, that's what we pay him to do.
Right.
Right.
And it's really unusual, I would expect, for an assessor to come and say, you know what? This is overvalued, I think I want to bring this down.
Yeah, that's odd.
I mean, but if he's willing to do that, it probably has merit, is my guess. I mean, I would assume it must have merit,
Yeah.
but.
So is one of these, this one, the one on 23, there's no homestead on that either, is there?
I would have to look in the account for that one, but I don't think so. I did get a complaint on that one. Actually, I think might be why that one came in. The neighbor complained that his value was,
Oh.
and he says the house is dilapidated and I don't know. And I said, go talk to the assessor.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve both. For me, that's what we have him for.
Yeah, I would agree. I guess if we're puzzled by something, we could take it up with him, but this is what we hire him to do, so. And we don't get many of these.
Oh, and their address is Guilford, Maine, even though the property we're talking about, okay.
He is on 23,
Okay.
yeah. I think they live in Guilford.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think so.
yeah. I guess I'll second that.
Any further discussion? We vote in favor, it's unanimous. Abatements are granted. These need to be signed.
Yes.
Well, we need a, that this one. Just one page?
Yep.
On to Sexton. D.
Yes, David Kimball is resigning as sexton, effective the end of his appointment, which is the first board meeting after the annual town meeting. So,
So for 2019, we need a new
yeah,
sexton.
and he's recommending we start looking now because there's some training involved, or at least discussion with the person to kind of get them up to speed on what we
Is
expect.
he aware of
them.
anyone who has shown
He
any
didn't give
interest?
me any clue to anything. He did just say, he came in and he said, here's my resignation. And I'm like, no. And he's like, you haven't advertised yet. And I said, why would I? He said, I told you I was getting done. I said, yeah, but it was verbally. It wasn't in writing. I was hoping you would change your mind.
It's great that he did that, but why would you resign from an appointment? You don't have to resign because you're done at that given time. I mean, it's a
It just gives us
respect
a
thing, and I
chance.
It
appreciate
is, it gives us
No,
a
I
check to,
under- but I
yeah,
mean-
yeah.
It's not really a resignation, it's just letting you know I'm not gonna look for an appointment next year.
Yes and no. There are municipal things that, even though you're appointed, if you're not written up and scolded, I mean, you can expect to be reappointed the following year, so
He's just making it
just
official.
making it official that he doesn't want to be reappointed.
So is he retiring?
He didn't really delve too deep into his reasons.
I didn't know if there was something of an issue that none of us would know about.
Right.
So why
He didn't
doesn't
seem
want
to-
do it.
Disgruntled.
Correct,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
my,
Yeah, no, I don't think he's
Okay,
disgruntled.
no, that's
No,
fine.
I mean, because he's pretty compassionate and passionate about what he's doing. And I did ask him if he would continue to repair headstones, and he said yes, he would do that. So I think he's probably concentrating more on the business aspect of what he does versus the.
Not all sextons have to do the actual repairing of stones.
No sextons usually repair
Okay,
stones.
so it was just kind of a unique synergy we had
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
Okay.
So is that something we just advertise for?
yeah.
But yeah, it'd be good to make it known, that come after next, at next town meeting, we're gonna be looking for some
Yeah,
folks who are interested. Is that appointed by us or you?
me.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, I'm the cemetery superintendent, so.
Whole business, or do you wanna roll this
Let's
item
roll
into
that right
this?
in there,
Yeah.
make it E.
So, this has to do with transferring some of Alvina's responsibilities. One being the, Department of Motor Vehicle, is it an agent?
Yes,
And the other one is Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. We need a motion to appoint Lois Jones, and she will remain in this position until such time that we hire a new
well,
clerk.
or I can.
Or you appoint someone else,
somebody
yeah.
So I'll make a motion to appoint Lois Jones,
BMV agent and inland
Okay.
fisheries agent.
BMV agent and inland fisheries agent.
Any further discussion? Those in favor? All three of us. Anything else?
No.
I'm wondering if this is maybe the area we want to talk a little bit about, because this kind of ties into this Sunday sales and the petition process. Do we want to get into the marijuana moratorium ordinance / all of that, or do we want to not get into that yet? Lois has sent all of us some things, information packets. It is a bit confusing. If you got the Observer, Dexter, an emergency moratorium.
Ah,
Dover did it. So everybody's trying to address this kind of
Yeah.
window of opportunity. My understanding, I believe, that all of this kind of gets solved after the legislature adjourns. They pass legislation, but we don't know, they may not adjourn in time for this to even occur until next year. depending on where-
It's 90 days after they adjourn, which their opinion is it probably won't adjourn until after the election.
whoa.
So it's,
The way I read that, and I can be completely wrong, so you can fix me, but the way I read that is Dexter did that for 60 days and they're working on an ordinance.
Correct.
Is that what they're,
Well, it looks
They're
like they're
not
working
relying
on
on
something
what
for
this-
November, right?
yeah, they're trying to get something on the November election. So they gotta.
I haven't read the article.
That's how I interpreted that.
Yeah, I kinda did too, but I'm wondering if what they're really, I don't know. I wonder if what they're really gonna do is I don't know why they did 60 days, other than if that's what you're only allowed to do with an emergency ordinance.
6 months is, well,
Well-
an emergency maybe, but a moratorium typically is 6 months.
But wouldn't that require the legislative body? Or-
Yes,
Because this they did unilaterally. The
Selectmen,
council just did it.
the council did an emergency moratorium. Okay.
So we need to understand that mechanism.
Well, I
That's
did
fine.
send, an email to Jack.
Yes, because it references
Because it
Dover did the
references
same
Dover.
thing.
Okay, but we're kinda talking two different things, cause when we mentioned this before, but it was more towards recreational.
Right.
This is not about
This
recreational.
has nothing to do with that.
This
There is
is
a,
all medical.
there is a
Medical.
hole right now.
Yeah, no, I know that,
That's
yeah.
what's going on, and that's what they're
So
addressing.
that's what they're addressing in both
Yes.
towns.
Correct.
Right.
And I think
Because-
what did Guilford do? Did Guilford do medical or recreational?
They did it earlier, so I think they just did a moratorium on marijuana, period, because I think the law
Okay.
hadn't been set yet. They did it like in March, April.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
did
and
it
the law had
early
not been
on.
set then.
Yeah.
So the law hadn't been set, so that's when they set their moratorium, so theirs was on everything, I'm assuming.
How can, how can we all get educated really? Is there anybody that we can get to come in?
I missed a class on it, I can look and see if MMA is offering another class on medical marijuana. But they're far and few between, like one a year, maybe.
This, I think the salient points here though are, do these two, medical and recreational, essentially merge after this
After.
90 days? Is that a true
That's
assumption?
the way I am
But
understanding
MMA
it.
will know that.
Yes,
And is it possible for a select board to invoke an emergency moratorium to cover that period? Can that be done? So that then everything is on the same schedule.
Right.
That's all you're doing.
It all falls under the same law.
It all falls under the same law, the same process.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a citizen's petition to change either one of those things.
Because
But
right
that-
now, for recreational, we don't have to do this.
No, we
because-
don't have to
It's
do
already covered.
It's already
anything.
out.
We're
It's already
all
covered.
set.
Because we haven't
Correct.
voted it in.
Right.
right,
So this just puts everything, it bundles everything together, it puts them in the same
It aligns it all.
progress, yep. And if we can do that simply and cleanly, I think it's in the town's advantage to do that. Then if the town wants to approve both of them, they can,
Right.
right,
but everything will be on the same schedule.
right.
So that's what we wanna know from MMA. I think if we could get that nailed down and how we could go about that, that's what we wanna know. And if an emergency one that like Dexter and Dover has done is sufficient, then that might be clean and easy. But the materials they sent us about an ordinance, they wanted us to submit that to our attorney, and it was gonna be
Yeah.
That's a-
Yeah. That was.
that's bigger than we're gonna tackle in the next 30 days.
Yeah.
They also stated in there that Dexter clearly voted down, was opposed to even the recreational side of it.
So was Sangerville. Sangerville, I was
That's why I
amazed.
was just curious what those. we knew
The whole
what those
county,
numbers were.
Piscataquis County turned it
Oh.
down by a good margin, 55% were against recreational.
Oh, on the vote itself, when it
In
actually went
16 when it
through.
went through. Sangerville specifically was 58% against.
Wow.
So I think we have good standing
Well,
in
that's-
saying, we wanna get everything, all of our ducks on the same path.
Yep.
Because
yep.
our town has already spoken on this.
Right.
Yeah,
I was surprised the numbers were that lopsided,
Yeah, wow, I didn't know that.
so.
Okay.
that's because little Boston
So once
outvotes
we
us.
know that.
What's
from-
that?
It's because little Boston outvotes us.
Yeah, some communities were really lopsided the other way, but Piscataquis County was actually, one of the, only Aroostook County was more negative on recreational use. We were the second highest rejection
No
Right.
of that question one. And Sangerville by itself was one of the highest in the state.
Wow.
That's because you're the oldest population.
That's right.
Well, but more to my view on this is, I think this is good standing for us to say,
Right,
okay, we
right,
wanna
yeah.
get everything organized,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
people starting
Yeah,
have already
have
spoken on this.
spoken.
Well,
Or at least as little as they can,
Right.
so,
I didn't know what those numbers were, that's why I wanted. to
I
make sure.
purposely wanted to know.
That's
That's why I
very
wanted to know as well, so
Right.
that helps steer this in
Yeah,
direction.
So the question is, can the select board invoke an emergency moratorium without the legislative body?
Yep, and,
And by
yeah,
doing that, is that doing what we want it to?
yeah, we
Right,
wanna
well,
know,
it
we wanna
covered-
get to that end.
And how long
We
is
s-
that? They did 60 days, is that
That's
what we
right.
have
Do
to
we
do?
have to set a time? Because we don't know what that date is, really.
And if we can get answers to this for Friday,
Yeah, we can work on, move on it.
yep, or Monday, now we have meetings Friday and Monday.
To the statute.
Now we're on to old business. Any old business that you want to address? Correspondence?
Nope.
Request for additional agenda items?
No,
Hearing seen none. Executive session? None today? Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second, it's 6 o'clock straight up and we are adjourned. Oh, well, let's vote. It's all, yes, all in favor, adjourn.